Welcome, everybody. It is Thursday. It is time for the Clear Path Leadercast. I am here every Thursday at noon talking about what it takes to become the leader you aspire to be. I work a lot with accidental executives who find themselves in leadership roles and help them to develop the strength and the vision that they need to become the leader they aspire to be. Each week, we have a different topic that we talk about. So today, we're going to be talking about leadership mindset. I've talked over the last few weeks about leadership courage and leadership curiosity. And today, what I want to do is spend some time talking with you about the leadership mindset, especially when you're leading through difficult and challenging times, driving change, leading through a pandemic, doing the things that we have to do as leaders. And I'm going to focus in today on three areas around resolve, persistence, and resilience as those three characteristics that are so crucial to that leader's mindset as they drive through change. But first, just a story of some of my own challenges in leadership, especially early on when I had my first kind of really senior leadership role where I was running a division of a company and it was going great. I had a lot of support from the team. The parent company gave us a lot of support, but we got into some rough times. We got into a point where we got into a really interesting tug of war between two big Fortune 500 companies over where we're going to work. We were outsourced at the time, and where we were going to get insourced. And it was a lot of tension. It was a lot of stress for a team of 70 people. And all of us were really struggling under the weight of it because there just wasn't as much information as we may have liked. And there was one point during that whole process, and I really worked hard to stay strong, to be as transparent as I could be with the team, to provide information, to show strength, to empathize with what was going on. And it took a lot of energy, as leaders out there going through tough times can acknowledge. And you have to show that strength. It also helps to show some vulnerability, but you don't want to show panic. And something happened one day that was a really unexpected curveball during a live call. And it just really took me for a turn that I wasn't ready for. And it started, and as I said in this week's newsletter, that leadership armor that I had really cracked open wide. And I showed it, and I showed that panic that I was feeling mostly in that moment. And it was a moment of weakness for me as a leader. And it wasn't just vulnerability, it was fear. And that was not where I needed to be for this team of 70 people on this particular day or during the whole month or two that this went on. And I remember as the call ended, I went back to my office, and there was a guy that worked with me. He was a great guy, had more seasoned than I was, had a lot more experience, and came into me, a direct report to me. And he came into me and he just sat me down and he really talked to me. He said, "Craig, these people here need your strength right now. You can't break. They're looking to you for their strength. They're looking to you for their courage to get through this and to have your vision to help them get through this time. You have to show that strength as you're going through this time," and really helped me work through the issue, helped me get back onto the straight and narrow so that I could be helpful to the team. So I'm not here to tell you through these things. I'm going to talk about resolve, persistence, and resilience, that you're going to bat 1,000. We're all human as leaders, but we need to recover from that. But just know that, it's important to realize the team is looking to you for strength during difficult times. They're looking for you to cast that vision to show the way forward. So let's talk today about three areas and give you some three tips you can walk away from today on how you can develop a strong leadership mindset during difficult times. And the first one is resolve. You have to be decisive and firm once the decision is made about the way you want to lead the team forward. People don't want to follow, as I said this week in one of our quotes out there, they don't want to follow wishy-washy leaders. They want to see their leaders firm in their commitment and resolve to move forward. So they want to understand your vision and your plan for achieving it, and they want to know that you have confidence in it. So that doesn't mean you move forward blindly. It doesn't mean you lumber forward without input from your team, but it does mean as you pull all that input together and you get to the point where it's time to make a decision, that you have to be decisive. There's no, I don't know, maybe. You have to be decisive. You have to be focused, and you have to be relentless in the pursuit of that vision you're going after. And you've got to commit to it. If people see you second guessing, if people see you uncertain, it's going to undermine everything you're trying to do in that effort that you're building for the company, for your team. So use your team to help you put the plan together, get them all on board. But once it's time to move forward, we used to have a saying where I was on my leadership team, 80% agreement is 100% commitment. So you have to, even if there's some people who are 100% sure with you, you have to be 100% sure it's time to move forward, and the team needs to see that. So what's important for you as a leader? Tip one is to have resolve, to get focused and not to second guess or backtrack or do any of those things. Now, we'll talk a little bit later about what to do when things come up that we didn't see that may change our mind. But until we start to see that, we have to have confidence in our decision. So be decisive. Step one, or tip one for today. Two, persistence. Once you've made that decision to move forward, you have to keep moving forward. There are always, Mike Tyson said, and I overquote this in full disclosure, but everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. That's one of my favorite quotes from a fighter, but it's really about leadership too. Every leader has a plan. We go through a lot of effort to get that plan put together for how we want to move forward, but there are always things that we can't predict. There's market swings. There's changes in our community of buyers. There's changes on our team. There's things that we don't necessarily see, and they come up and smack us in the face, and they'll throw us off. Now, when you hit roadblocks like that, there may be a temptation to say, "Oh man, that's a roadblock. We gotta retool. We gotta refit. We gotta go back to where we were." And that's not really the time to do that. We have to work through those roadblocks. We have to persist towards where we're trying to drive the team towards that vision. We really want to keep our team focused on that vision of where we're going. God, that's almost terrifying we want to keep our team focused on the vision of where we are going forward. They need to see that confidence. There are always roadblocks, but we can never lose faith in where we're going. So what actions do we need to take when we hit that roadblock? Persist, figure out the way around that roadblock, make the adjustment you need to make, but you've got to find a way to persist in the strength of moving forward towards that vision that you're building for the company, towards that goal that you've developed. So tip two is persistence, and really realizing that just because you start running into resistance, that doesn't mean you're on the wrong track. In some ways, that may actually mean you're in the right track, because a lot of times people don't like change, and that might be our competitors don't like to see us changing to growing stronger, so they start swinging at us. It could be our team doesn't like change because it's new to them. May even mean our clients haven't really gotten on with us and they're more worried about the change than excited about it. Whatever that is, we've got to find a way to build the plan and adjust to go around that roadblock and continue to move forward. And that's the importance of persistence. So always look for that next way. Don't assume when you build a plan that you're going to have this smooth road and you're just off to the races and it's all going to be easy once you've made the decision. It's never easy once you've made the decision. You have to keep moving forward. So that leads us into the next piece, which is resilience. Resilience is mental toughness. It means that it's how we recover. So sometimes we're going to run into so much persistence that it becomes clear we've got the wrong plan. Maybe external environment has changed so much that what we're trying to do is no longer feasible, at least at that time. Or it could be that our big project just failed and it was just a bad idea. There comes a time where we have to start looking at the sunk cost fallacy and say, hey, we've invested in this. We tried. There's too many roadblocks. We had the wrong idea. We're going the wrong way. It's time for us to retrench and retool. And that's where resilience comes in. It's that internal strength that you have to have as a leader to know that even in the face of adversity, even in the face of failure, you have to strengthen yourself. You have to build yourself back up, and you have to find a way to start moving yourself forward and figure out the next way that you need to take your business forward. So maybe you have to reposition the project. Maybe you have to reconceptualize the project. Maybe you have to tweak some things or just set a different timeline. But when you run into that failure, you've got to have that resilience, that strength of character in yourself to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward, because that's what your team is looking for, is for you to show that resilience. So those are the three things that I wanted to talk about today as far as leadership mindset in the face of adversity. So resolve. Be firm, be decisive. Once the decision is made, no second guessing, stay strong. 2, persistence. When you run into those roadblocks, work your way around them, figure out what they are and work your way around them. Change is hard. Change sometimes means adjusting a little bit beyond what we thought we were going to have to be. But you as the leader have to show that persistence to keep the team moving forward. And then resilience when we fail. And look, I'm not one of those, everybody's got to fail. It's the greatest thing in the world is failure. Hey, look, I would rather succeed than fail, and then I'll just move on with that success. But when we do fail, we have to show that resilience, that inner strength, that character that's going to help us move forward and grow. So those are our 3 tips today. If you are looking out into 2022 and you're saying, gosh, I really want to grow my leadership. I really want to work on my resolve or my persistence or my resilience. I've got some good things going on. I may be 80% of who I want to be as a leader, but I'm just struggling to get over that next level. Let's talk. Let's get some time on the phone. You can see on the scroll back there, clearpathcoaches.com/intro call. Let's get some time on the calendar just to meet each other. Give me a chance to understand a little bit about what's going on with you. And let's see how we might be able to move forward to help you be more successful in 2022. Until then, thank you all for joining us on Clear Path Leadercast. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.